I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Also want to give double honors unto the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Blessings and salutations unto the elect of Yasha, which consists of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the Akim out there enduring this truth across the four corners of the earth, teaching and preaching through the spirit of Yahweh, Yahawashi, in truth and sincerity, as well as the men and women that follow, and those who might look like the other nations but are of the nation of Israel on their father's side by blood. And this is kind of going over, the nation of Israel a little bit. Just dealing, I'm not going to play any videos or anything. You know what I'm saying? Kind of get a scam, but just within the title alone, yeah, I actually might play this video because you had residents speaking of how normally they have certain events going, and you could just click it. You see the title there, Fox 5 Atlanta. But normally they have like more security or certain things, and just for whatever reason they didn't have it. Now 404 day or whatever, I guess it's some type of event. 404 is an area code down in Atlanta, and pretty much having a gathering at Piedmont Park. And of course, there was violence that erupted, as you can kind of see within this crowd. Like I said, you can click on the video, but nonetheless, man, I wanted to just go over here for a second because this was the spring break, right? Where everybody was going down in Houston, and you probably seen a couple of videos on that as well. I just wanted to read a couple points. It says spring break in Houston turned chaotic over the weekend, with streets overtaken by crowds, businesses forced to shut down early, and safety concerns on the rise. What started as a night of celebration quickly unraveled after party goers were denied entry to overcrowded clubs or left with nowhere to go. You could see certain videos, people, they bought sections, they had certain passes, they wasn't able to get in, and they couldn't get a refund, and they were stuck in the rain, a whole bunch of this and that and that and this. It says empty parking lots tell only half the story. Hundreds of spring breakers filled these spaces, blocking entrances, fighting, and threatening nearby businesses. Video footage, too graphic to show in full, captured spring breakers dancing in the street and purposely flashing passing drivers. These actions spilled into adjacent parking lots, creating mayhem for businesses and residents alike. Quote from someone, owner of Neil's Bar. Just dozens, in some cases 100 or more, of just kids in the parking lot. We do like 65 to 70% of our revenue after 10 p.m. and our biggest night is Saturday night. We cut that 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. time straight in half. Probably lost a couple $1,000s in revenue alone just from that. Residents caught in chaos. You got city leaders pretty much, putting it on the club owners and promoters, holding them accountable. But it says, with the World Cup approaching, residents and business owners are urging city leaders and law enforcement to implement stricter crowd control measures to prevent a repeat of spring break chaos. And that was a point that I actually just skimmed across that before, and I'm like, that's the problem too, is with all of this going on, there's no stoppage to it. It's just like being a child. When you was a child, you got in trouble, you got on punishment, things were taken from you. All right, this society doesn't take anything from people. Now we know, of course, order out of chaos. They plan to get order out of chaos. So at the end of the day, there are certain people and entities that like all of this rioting, so to speak. You know, and I say that word in particular for a reason, because we're gonna jump in First Peter's, or it might be, yeah, First Peter's. It's First Peter's. You know, but it gives certain people a reason to um pass certain laws. You know, bring in curfews, or justify whatever their true intentions are, which at the end of the day is justify why our people need to be locked up, why, you know, even when there's police brutality against our people, it's not, you know, it's not really taken serious, I would say. You know what I'm saying? Here you have missing people. You have missing so-called whites, I would say, come up missing, and then, you know, it just seems like it's a manhunt and it's all over the news and things of that nature. But there's a lot of our people that come up missing, and it's just a poster somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So it just shows you how uh, this society really don't take our people serious, and you know, all of this extra shit gives them the right. You know. So reading some of the comments on this one, because this is what, oh yeah, this was the Atlanta, and then this was the spring break, you know, and I'm just grabbing those two because those two are most recent, and people can't go anywhere, you know, people can't go anywhere, can't do anything for the most part. Matter of fact, I'll give a preset real quick. This is Jeremiah chapter, where do we go? Where do we go? Okay. Yep. Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 21. It says, "Yet I have planted thee a noble vine, holy right, Salakia, holy a right seed. Now then art thou turned into a degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me." And that's how our people act because of the transgression and because of the wickedness and them being and acting like the heathen, you know, because when you go into degenerate, it says having lost or suffered impairment. Oh, Salaki, that's the adjective of it. Where is the oh man? Where's the other one? Oh no, no, okay, it's further down, Salaki. It says having lost or suffered impairment to the qualities proper to the race or kind, meaning they don't act accordingly. Remember, you go into Deuteronomy the 4th chapter, all right, and it speaks about how these other nations will look at us and pretty much say this is a understanding people, you know, and not because of us, man. This is a type of behavior that comes about when you don't got YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, when you don't have order, all right, when you're not seeking salvation. This is Deuteronomy 4 and 5. It says, "Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my power command me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations." But our people have become degenerate, all right? "Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people." Let's see what this wise says right here. Got the Hebrew word hakam. It says wise, skillful, wise, shrewd, crafty, cunning, willy or wily, subtle, learned, shrewd, prudent, wise. You know, pretty much, and we are, we are as a people, you know. But our people, they do what? They take this, not this wisdom in particular, but they take the spirit that the Lord has given us in the sense of being um, above the nations. If you go to Deuteronomy 7 and 6, you know, it says, "For thou art an holy people unto the Lord Yahweh thy power. The Most High thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth." And that's why we are the best dancers and singers and fighters and inventors and this and that and that and this. Wherever you want to go with it, naturally we're the best for the most part. If there's something that we're not into, if we get into it, we're going to end up being the best. Um, and that's just how YAHAWASHI had planted us, as he said. But most of our people have become degenerate plants, man. You know. So, like I said, that's the ways that the Lord has given us. All right, that was our wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations, man. Okay, I'm gonna continue reading. It says, "For what nation is there so great who hath the power so nigh unto them as Yahweh our power is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day?" And that is exactly why through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai we rehearse the righteous acts. It's not what we do. You know, it's the ways, it's us trying to please the Lord, man. And we understand that we're not saved by keeping the laws. All right, we're saved by faith. But faith without works is dead, being alone. So like he said in what's that, James chapter 2, show me thy faith without thy works, I show you my faith by my works. So that's part of rehearsing the righteous acts of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man, which causes us to get into the frankincense and get into the myrrhs, the resins, and get into the stones and get into the planet, how animals operate, how the water cycle goes, and just get into information overall and take care of take care of our bodies and do certain diets and you know, um, just whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, bettering ourselves and being what we was or doing what we can as best as we can in the hell that we in. It's just, that's like the best way I can put it. But all through the spirit though. So we try to keep order. We try to please Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, but this type of energy doesn't please Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Now this is 1 Peter chapter 4 verse we'll just go to the top. It's 1 Peter 4 and 1. I'm gonna get to the point. So I'm gonna get to the point. This is 1 Peter 4 and 3. It says, "For the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles, when we walked in lasciviousness, lust, excess of wine, revelings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries." And I'll get a couple of these words, because at the end of the day, you gotta get rid of that old man. You gotta become a new creature. You can't keep the lifestyle that you once had and serve Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Now, am I saying certain events you can't go to and things like that? No, I'm not saying that. But if this is our wisdom and understanding, if we following after Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, certain events and things that are going on, you won't even attend, because 10 times out of 10, this is the type of behavior that's going to be out there, and this is the type of outcome you're going to have is violence, because within that Atlanta event, it was a 15-year-old got injured, and then a 16-year-old lost her life. So, and that's what normally happens. All right, you see some videos about that Houston stuff. I don't know if there was any shootings or anything, but there was some brawls. Lasciviousness, unbridled lust, excess, licentiousness. What is that? It says promiscuous and unprincipled in sexual matters. So you just doing what you doing. They kind of call it, "Hey, that's crazy." That ain't even crazy. It's the spirit. It goes into freedom. I was about to say, it sounds like you have people, they be saying they're free spirit and all of that, and they don't really have they're not really following too much after anything. I didn't mean to do that, but it's all good. We might need it later. Let me see what it says. And I'll be really hearing different definitions. All, people just use it. That's what they'll do. They'll use it to justify their means. It says an independent or uninhibited person expressing one's feelings or thoughts unselfconsciously and without restraint. So that at the end of the day, it's a person that's doing what they want to do, and that happens a lot. Amongst our people. You got wantonness, outrageousness, shamelessness. There's no shame in them. Insolence. I think was this rude and disrespectful. Okay, so that goes into the what that word was, lasciviousness. You got unbridled lust. So you just kind of doing what you want to do. You got lust, excess of wine, just drinking all of the time. And with the drinking, that's you're hurting yourself and potentially hurting others, because when you in the bottle, you just say whatever, like they say, liquid courage. So you might offend someone and not care at that moment, and then then you wake up from blacked out, and you're like, oh, I said, man, I apologize, but it's already out there. It's already out there, and being in excess of wine. Notice it didn't say wine, it said excess of wine. So doing it too much. That's why the scriptures say drink moderately. Definitely got to get these revelings, man. It says reveling, a nocturnal and riotous procession of half drunken, then excess of wine, and frolicsome fellows, frolic lively and playful. Yeah, they partying. Who after supper parade through the streets with torches and music in honor of Bacchus. So this is that type of energy that's around that, that party life, nightlife, and all of that extra shit. It's in the honor of Bacchus, man. They don't know it, but they're what they call living their best life. But really you out here being a degenerate plant, and you making a fool of yourself, and the Lord gonna judge you if you don't repent. Now, like I said, I'm not saying partying and all that, but we already know what comes with all of that. A bunch of adultery. You can obviously see, people losing their lives. It ain't like they having on kosher only meals. They eating what they want and doing what they want and drinking what they want at the end of the day, man. All right. And that's why it's always a problem, Shoot, we didn't linked up with brothers, and it ain't no extra stuff going on. Ain't nobody shooting at each other and chasing each other down and body slamming and nah, man. Because we're coming in the spirit of YAHAWASHI, man. All right, not Bacchus. It says, or some other deity, and sing and play before houses of male and female friends, hence used generally of feast and drinking parties that are protracted till late at night and indulge in revelry. What's revelry? All right. Lively and noisy festivities, especially when these involve drinking a large amount of alcohol. So a lot of it, that's what it stems from. All right. So what else we got? What was the other word? Banquetings. Let's see what we got for banquetings. Just drinking and kerosene. The activity of drinking alcohol and enjoying oneself with others in a notice it keeps saying noise. It's just loud. It's too much. Too much, man. That's what happens. It's just too damn much. You got loud ass music, got loud ass women, you got loud ass men. It's just too damn much. And it goes on for hours. And like I said, into the late nights. Clubs be closing at 2. Hell, I went to a club in fucking, where the hell was I at? In Arkansas. That motherfucker didn't close till 5 in the morning. And I'm like, damn. Who the fuck is here to 5 in the morning? Me, obviously. But it's like, that's too much. You know what I'm saying? I can't remember exactly what time we got there, but I was out of town. That was the only really. When I'm home in my state, I don't go out. I don't fucking go out. No, no, no. Hell no. 1 Peter 4:4 says, wherein they think it strange that you run not with the same excess of riot, speaking evil of you. Yeah, because you'll get to the point where people you used to hang with and roll with and stuff like that will speak evil of you, especially when they realize what you really for. You know, they're not even, oh, you too good to come out with us and that and that. Then they go, oh, he crazy. Oh, he wasting his time. Oh, he, saying all type of stuff. Going into that riot, it says, in abandoned, it says dissolute life, profligacy, and prodigality. Let's look. That's desolate life. Come on, come on, come on, come on, baby. Might have to look it up on regular. But we got profligacy. It says reckless extravagance or wastefulness in the use of resources. Yeah. So you just doing whatever. You living your life. You know what I'm saying? Hey, there go that word again. Licentious or dissolute behavior. You know? So you like there was a video of someone who stayed in Houston. There's a lady that stayed in Houston. She was just going over how people said they was getting scammed and everything. And she was like, I don't understand how y'all got all of this money, and y'all basically come down here spending $3,000 to $4,000 unless y'all just splurging and stuff, and that's just a wasteful use of resources, you know. It's spending money or resources freely, and that's the spirit, man. That's the spirit. Y'all niggas ain't got no money like that, you know. And hey, but the thing is, look, we now, well, the U.S. is over there stirring up things with Iran. In the sense, when all of this is going on, it was fresh and hot. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, was it? Let me double check and see when they first attacked Iran. February 28th. So you got the whole March Madness and all of that, and that's the thing. Here it is. Y'all just can, like it said, we got the World Cup coming up. Y'all just constantly worried about keeping things going. No matter what happened, we just gonna keep it going. If you take these things, maybe people will learn their damn lesson. You cancel all of these big events and everybody really gotta sit their ass at home. But people gonna lose it in their home because they used to being out in this excess of riot. They used to being out. Hey, says lacks in morals. Ooh, yeah. And it ain't no virtue in them. No etiquette. They just do what they want, how they want, when they want, to who they want. Just they don't care. They're degenerate. Let's get back to that word real quick. It says, having lost or suffered impairment to the qualities proper to the race of or kind, to be inferior to one's ancestors, to become unlike one's race or kind, fall from ancestral qualities. And that's exactly what our people are indulged in. All right, use physical as well as moral qualities. Yeah, you think our ancestors was obese like most of these black women be? Some of these niggas too, man. All right, or not really taking care of them bodies, as far as like men, even children. You know, even children. You know what I'm saying? They be all big and obese and shit for no reason, and it comes down to this diet. You know. It comes down a lot to these mothers who's not really cooking. They just rather go get that processed shit, throw you a hot pocket in the microwave, throw you some pizza rolls in the oven, throw you some fries in the air fryer. So all of this bullshit ass food with all of this, the brother sent the video the other day with all of these damn trans fats and shit. No healthy fats. They don't want no avocados, no olive oil, none of that. They don't want to cut up their own potatoes and fried in avocado oil. Nah, they want to sit here and go to the store, go to the frozen section, and get a bag of fries, and then toss that up in there. You know, toss it in the air fryer. Like, come on, man. Far from the ancestors. All right. So where we at? Yep. Let's get to 2 Peter's 2:7. We'll go up to 6. It says, "And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemn them with an overthrow, making them an example unto those that after shall live ungodly." Which you have some of that. Well, Atlanta's big on that. You know, Sodom and Gomorrah activity. All right, go and look what Sodom and Gomorrah was into. You know. Or if you know Atlanta, you know exactly what it is. It said, "And deliver just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked." You know, and that's what it is, because that conversation is their behavior. You know, and that when you have the mentality of YAHAWASHI, a lot of these things are vexing, man. You know, a lot of this, I am like not even joking when I say this. I am for real tired of seeing it. You know, they talk about black fatigue and all. Yeah, like that in culture is man, it's too much. It's too much because it never stops. It's like shorts and reels on social media. You just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and then it's like, damn. This shit is just too much. Let me get the hell off here. I've been scrolling for an hour and a half, doing nothing, wasting time. So all of this behavior and what said frolicsome behavior, it's just too much, man. You know, it is just it's too much. All that rioting and reveling. You know. It's just too much. And hey, the Lord's going to judge this place. And he's going to judge that type of behavior. It said, all the works therein shall be burnt up. You know? You think people going to be late night? No, motherfucker, you going in the house when the sun go down type, you know? It ain't going to be no uh, uh, late night clubs open in the kingdom. And people out drinking and partying and doing, nah, man. Nah, that's here in Babylon where there's confusion allowed, you know. So yeah, I just wanted to get into that, man, through the spirit. Lord willing, you was edified, and yeah, certain events you just want to stay away from. You know what I'm saying? Certain events you should be wise enough to stay away from that type of activity, because ain't nothing good gonna ever come of it as long as our people is there. Crazy enough. You know what I'm saying? Shoot. Hey, so with that, once again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Shalom.